Hello everybody, David here with Philippine American Couples Story. Please make sure that you like, give a thumbs up, submit a comment, and subscribe to our channel if you would please. Today I want to go over a little bit about money or finances that we went through when Lorelai came here. Now, for me, personally, it was very, very important to set her up for not only for success being here, but also in case of my death, that she's not going to have any hassles dealing with the estate or getting the money out of the estate. So I'm going to go over some of what I did right off. So after we got married, submitted a marriage license. If I remember right, in Arkansas, you had 10 days to turn that in. So one of the first things we did is went to the bank, and I had her added as a co-owner to the accounts. Not a co-signee, but a co-owner. Now the difference is, if you're a co-signee, while I'm alive, you can basically sign for me and write checks on my account. But if I'm dead, that goes away. So as a co-owner of these accounts, no matter what, she's already the owner of the account. Now, very important. That way, because here's what happens in the real world when somebody passes away, a spouse, like this situation, you don't have things set up kind of the way that I'm going to explain to you we do. There's a good chance that your spouse is going to get a bunch of hassle. Believe it or not, they're going to have to go find the marriage license. They're going to have to get copies of the death certificate. They're going to have to go to the bank, go everywhere, and present these documents to get anything done. So it's a big headache. So I want to make sure she didn't have any of these issues or problems. So I made her a co-owner of all of the banking accounts. Our 401k account that I had, I made her the beneficiary, because she can't be a co-owner of those, but she could be the primary and the only beneficiary. So I did that. I got that set up and taken care of. The cars that I owned before Lorelai got here, what I did was I went ahead and put her name on the title, because I have the title in hand. So I took it to the DMV, and she would sign it. I'd give it to the DMV. I think they charged us, I don't know, $8 to reprocess the title. So the title would come back in both of our names. And we wanted to make sure, and I know some states are doing this differently or they don't care. But if I remember right, it's important that you have things say or, not and. In same thing, in the case of my death, if it said and, then she would have to go get the marriage license and the death certificate to show that I died before she could get rid of the vehicles or do anything with them. As an or, well, they're in her name. She can do what she wants with them without any legal hassles. So that was one thing we were able to do. It was just as easy when she finally got her driver's license, which is something that we started working on pretty much immediately, that I just called the insurance company and added her. No big deal there. Now, and then the next time we bought a car, because part of my overall goal in doing all of this is not only securing her future, but also setting her up so that she could have a really high credit score, good credit. And coming from another country, obviously, she had not bad credit, but what they call no credit. So by adding her to my bank accounts as a co-owner, not a co-signer, she automatically got credit for the 15, 20 years that I've owned those accounts. So from a credit reporting standpoint, that gave her longevity, financial longevity, which is very, very crucial. Car loans, what I like to do with car loans, and I did this partly so that Lorelai could build her name and credit. When I bought and sold a car after being married, I financed it and had her name as a co-buyer. Therefore, she gets financial credit for it. And of course, she's also co-owner of the car. Once again, she doesn't have to deal with the aftermath of my death if that happens. The other good thing that it does is when you buy a new car, say for example, if you just walk in and pay cash, you're going to pay more money. The key to this is to get all the incentives, to get all the rebates, and a lot of these incentives and rebates are based on the condition that you finance, like through Chrysler Capital. And usually there's a stipulation that you got to make 3 payments through Chrysler Capital. So what we do is we basically finance a car, get every incentive we can, every rebate we can, get that price down as low as we can, and then I go ahead and let them finance it, and I beat them to death on the interest rate, or no interest, and then I wait the 3 months, and then I pay the car off. Pretty simple. And that saves us a lot of money all over. Plus, it gives her another loan that's in her name that's been paid off. That helps establish and build credit. So that's kind of how we handle cars. Now, part of what I wanted to do right off the bat was get a credit card in her name to help her establish credit. And seeing that I made her a co-owner of my bank accounts, like I said, it was easy to get her a credit card. Because when they looked up her credit, they saw, oh, well, she's a co-owner of a very long bank account. So that worked. And then, of course, you know how to do this with credit cards. Now, you apply for one, you get one, you use it a little bit, pay it off, never, never, never go past the 28, 29 days, whatever your card says, so you don't have to pay interest on it. And you do this, and what it does, it allows you to build your credit without going into debt or paying the credit card company a bunch of money in interest, which we can get into a whole other topic about all of that, about rebuilding your credit, developing credit, and all of that at another time. So I wanted to get Lorelei established, got her a credit card in her name alone. The other thing I did and worked on, which was a little bit trickier, I wanted to put her name on the utilities of our home that we had at the time. So I'd call my local water company and say, hey, I need to have my wife to my account. And the funny thing is they said, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? And they're like, well, it's not necessary. They said, well, I understand it's not necessary, but it's what I want to be done. And the lady argued with me, and I told her, I said, you don't understand. This is what I want done. And she was like, well, I don't know why you would. And I said, well, let me explain to you why. The reason is, if I die, my wife, now, in order to sell her house, get the water turned off, or anything like that, or if she moves and needs water utilities again in the same town, she's going to have to get marriage license and death certificate. And then she's going to have to bring it to you before you will even listen to her. And then, if she needs it just in her name, since I'm deceased, you're going to charge her another deposit on top of the deposit that I already paid many, many years ago. So why don't we add her to my account as a co-owner of the utility, and life will be good. And so the lady, they begrudgingly did it. But look, just make them do it. It's not a big deal. And we did that with all utilities. We did that with the TV. We did that with the cell phone carrier. Everybody. Now, kind of ridiculous to have to fight with them over adding a responsible party that could pay the bill to an account, but sometimes that's what you have to do. When we bought and sold homes, what I've always done is, after the first house, because when we got married, I already owned a home, and what I found was I could not add her to the mortgage at all, unless I wanted to refinance the house and pay, that $4,000 in closing costs again, just to get her name on the loan. So that didn't make any sense. So we took care of that, basically in a small will stipulating that she inherited the house and had the legal right to dispose of it as sees fit. Now, we sold that house. we bought another house. This time, I had her, of course, go on the mortgage as a co-buyer. That way, she's a co-owner of the home. Real important. Real important. You're going to make life easier. I was able, with the first house, just to call my insurance company, homeowners insurance, and tell them I'd really like for my wife to be added to the policy. And they didn't have a problem with it. Like, okay. And the reason, once again, is just that. If something happens, I'm in the hospital, I'm gone. If she needs to make a claim on the house or whatever it may be, she has the legal authority and right to do that without jumping through a bunch of hoops. And part of my goal is just to make life easier, and I hope is your goal too, is to make life easier for your wife or fiance when she gets here. So a little bit on homes there. One of the other things that we wanted to do was, Lorelai wanted to work, and she loves to work, which I'm very happy about because she makes money, so that's good, is I set it up with her and explained to her how the American retirement system kind of works, how 401ks works. Because what they do in the Philippines is totally different than what we do here in the U.S. So you have to understand that. And I will encourage you not to just dictate and tell your wife, but teach her the way that things are done here in the United States. All right? Break it down with her. Take her with you everywhere you go and explain, and let the bankers explain, and let her learn and absorb, because she can only do if she's been taught. And so I've worked hard over the years to teach her how to manage money in the United States. So we did all of that. When she got her job, the first thing I did was we started taking out as much possible out of her check, investing it into the 401k that was offered to her and the stock options that was offered to her. Which, we got to remember, the old saying is this: if you take it out in the beginning, then you don't miss it at the end. And we've been doing that since she's been here the last 5 years. And it's proven out to be a good thing, a good investment. For long after I'm gone, she will have an additional nest egg of money that's available to her when she's of the right age to collect it. I guess technically a 401k, you can collect it at any time. You just have to pay your penalties and taxes on it. So that's kind of what we do with investing for her future. There's lots of other little things, making sure that we save and all of that I'll talk to you guys about in another video. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a recap of what I did for my Filipino wife coming here. One of the other big important things was, and I know I've talked about this in other videos, is why we made Lorelai become a U.S. citizen so quickly. As soon as she was eligible, we went ahead and applied for this. Because part of what I learned during this process of getting her as a co-owner on everything, even if she was a co-owner of a bank account here in America, she could still have difficulties claiming that money because she wasn't a U.S. citizen. What I found was there's no way any bank, any 401k, any retirement fund, anything, mortgage company, could give her any hassle about anything if she was a U.S. citizen. So that was really important to us for her citizenship. Therefore, she could walk in any bank, close out anything she wants. When I was doing my research, it was showing that there was going to be maybe a month, 2 months. And if she just happened to be in the Philippines, if we went there to live off and on or whatever, she wanted to go back home after my death or whatever, it was going to be a nightmare for her to get that money out of the United States, not being a U.S. citizen. Even though she was a legal, permanent resident here in the United States. So making her a citizen made things much easier for her future. So that's all the thoughts I really have on that. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share our videos. You guys take care, think wisely, and